It's really hard for people to hear the word gimmick and think of it as a positive thing. We associate it with vacuum cleaners that avoid cat hair. Look, gimmicks aren't always lying and bullshit early part of the video, don't want to get demonetized. They're not always BS. They're not always garbage mechanics that don't matter. Gimmicks are fun. But people that get all of their information from video game essays about game design call them mechanics and then say gimmick when they don't like the mechanic. Ugh, gross. Sorry, gimmicks and mechanics, they can be sort of defined differently, but the way I look at it is that a mechanic is something that's sort of integral to the game, and a gimmick is something that's integral to the game, but not so much that I want to call it a mechanic. Does that make sense? Basically, a gimmick is a little game mechanic, and a game mechanic is a really big gimmick. Every developer and publisher wants you to buy their new game, but the thing is, why should you if you just bought last year's game? Or why should you if you have a different game you enjoy? Well, the way they get you is gimmicks and features and design choices and mechanics that aren't in other games, and yeah, it's a big mess. But when it comes to Black Ops Cold War, I start to wonder, what are the gimmicks and what are the mechanics? And then I realize that that's sort of a pointless distinction because essentially they're all just new additions to the game to varying degrees of importance. But along that line of thought, I started thinking about something, in my opinion, a little bit more serious. Is Call of Duty fixing things that aren't broken? Are they changing things they don't need to change? And are they doing that because of the pressure that surrounds being an annual franchise? How do you get me to buy Black Ops Cold War if I bought Modern Warfare and Warzone's on the market and Call of Duty Mobile's on the market, and I could technically still go buy Black Ops 4, and I could technically still go buy COD World War II, because those games still have players. Even Infinite Warfare, I was able to find some online matches on multiple times throughout this year. So Cold War has to deliver things that we want. So one of the big things I enjoy, let me get a positive thing out here, they have the Gunsmith system returning for Modern Warfare, that's a big win, and they have a wildcard that allows you to have 8 attachments. That's gonna have so many possibilities when it comes to customizing guns. I cannot wait to fully kit out weapons in various ways. It was a big thing I wanted during Modern Warfare's lifecycle, more attachment slots because Gunsmith was so good. I mean, Gunsmith is now the gold standard for AAA FPS weapon customization. It's really good. Not without its flaws, but it's really damn good. That doesn't mean that it would work in every FPS game, but for the games that it would, it needs to be there. But then in Cold War you have the Scorestreak system. I feel like they were trying too hard to differentiate Cold War from other COD games, and they essentially did it by playing with Call of Duty's baby, with its lifeblood, which is the Scorestreak or killstreak system that has been selling Call of Duty for years. The two things that defined Call of Duty were create a class and kill streaks. And while not every Call of Duty game does either of those things perfectly, I'm really disappointed with how poorly Cold Wars is implemented, because it removes that one thing that every Call of Duty game has going for it. If you have a kill streak active, you have the potential to earn it that life, even if you called it in during your last life. Meaning you can get back-to-back chopper gunners in Black Ops 1 if you are good enough. In Modern Warfare, if you play really hard and get a VTOL, and then your next life you get a VTOL, and then your next life you get a VTOL because you're that good, the game gives you those VTOLs and gives the enemies the ability to shoot your streak down if they don't like dying by it. But, you know, Modern Warfare made that a bit too easy, but either way. In Modern Warfare 3, if I wasn't doing very well, I would put on UAV and counter UAV and hardline and just cycle through them constantly and just get UAVs and counter UAVs up as many times as possible. And I think that's kind of cool. That way, if you're not doing very well, you can still help your team, but it's every life you're capable of doing that. And there's already cooldowns in the sense that you can't have 2 UAVs up at once, or 2 personal radars, or 2 VTOLs. If your teammate's calling in a precision airstrike, you can't call in a precision airstrike. That's already a thing. But Black Ops won't let you call in an artillery strike if your teammate is, won't let you call in an artillery strike if you've already called one in, then you don't get to earn score to your next one for the next 60 seconds. And your sentry cooldown doesn't even start until your sentry gun's been destroyed. Now, can they improve these things? Oh, sure they can. They could make it so that, yeah, you have a minute cooldown on calling it in, but you can always be earning score towards it. They could do that, and that could be nice, be better. But then you have the problem that we had with weekend 1 of this beta. Compared to the alpha, there was so much more score streak spam because they took 30 seconds off of the cooldown. Taking it from 90 seconds to 60 seconds, in my opinion, was a good idea, but whoops, it doesn't work because these streaks are persistent, so the sky is just filled with UAV, counter UAV, UAV, counter UAV. I died by artillery strikes more during that beta than I died by IEDs in all of Call of Duty Ghosts. That's a blatant lie, but whatever. You see, I think Modern Warfare went too simple with its kill streaks. Just being kill streaks, I think Modern Warfare would have been better with point streaks or score streaks. I think basic kill streaks are a little archaic, and they do definitely force people to play more conservatively, and on messier maps, that wasn't a really good idea to also do that and then remove red dots from the minimap unless there's the UAV up and all of that bullshit. I don't want to get into that. Either way, Modern Warfare made lots of mistakes. But where it got it right is that every life I could get a precision airstrike if I was able to get that many kills. And what I don't like is that in Cold War, I don't have that. And that's sort of the lifeblood of Call of Duty. Now, we also see this in the gunplay in Cold War. You're gonna take 1 to 2 more shots to kill somebody. That's a pretty big change. The headshot multiplier shaves that down considerably. So that's also a big change. We've never really had a really, from the gate, high headshot multiplier and long time to kill. This is going to create some inconsistencies, especially when you add on the fact that there's no flinch on your gun when you're shot. Meaning if somebody is head glitching, yeah, you can do more damage to their head, but if you start shooting at them and they get hit, they're not going to be flinched off target, and they have more cover than you have to be more precise than them, and they're not being flinched off of you, so they're going to be capable of killing you. Now, flinch is a bad mechanic when overdone, but I think Modern Warfare and Black Ops 4 did flinch pretty well. But we already saw an issue with low flinch in Modern Warfare with the Kar 98 and Mark II, or the DMRs in general, having the focus perk made them damn near unstoppable because they could kill you so quickly in 1 to 2 shots depending on the marksman rifle. It was very irritating using something a little bit more low damage and starting to land hits but then just getting immediately murked off the field. Nothing better than landing 3 out of 4 shots with your M4 before you're immediately taken out by a headshot because they didn't flinch when they were hit with your initial shots. Yeah, super cool. Also, weapon balance is a thing. When you have no flinch and a high headshot multiplier, you're gonna have a problem when a weapon out TTKs other weapons. You're not going to be able to get the drop on those players using those overpowered weapons as easily. And more precise players, whether they use a really low sensitivity, they're playing really conservatively with a lot of cover, they have mouse and keyboard, they're going to be able to chew through you as you already started hitting them. After they win the gunfight, they can just stim, and stim's another issue. Because how do you balance stim around a longer time to kill and health bars? If I see an enemy's health bar is almost empty and I chase him and 1 second later he has all of his health back because he stimmed around the corner, I'm gonna be very irritated. It already happened during the beta and I was very irritated because I knew exactly what had happened. I think stims are gonna be a crutch in a longer time to kill game because fighting multiple opponents with a longer time to kill is hard enough already. You don't wanna do it if you're even missing 10% of your health. So stims are gonna be a massive crutch. Seeing the health bar of your enemy is kinda nice when you want to know if you're gonna need 5 or 2 shots to kill them. So the fact that if you see their health bar and then they go behind cover, they might already have 100% health, that's gonna add inconsistencies and frustrations, especially if you got shot during the first exchange but didn't have stim shot. You see, this kind of stuff gives me a headache, and it makes me think that because of the annual release of Call of Duty, they're forcing themselves to change up the game in ways it doesn't need to be changed. I think the longer time to kill by itself isn't bad. The headshot multiplier by itself wouldn't be bad, but in combination, it's gonna make things inconsistent because it's Call of Duty. People are sliding and jumping around, hip fire spread is random, recoil patterns will sometimes help you get headshots. We're not playing Halo here. Having a high headshot multiplier is not gonna make the game uber more skill-based, don't pretend. Combining those things with a lack of flinch, I think we're gonna have an issue here, especially with head glitchers and people that are using a lot of cover, or they're laying down at a distance and they're smaller and harder to see. Even if you shoot them, they're not gonna be flinched off target. You have to hit them in the head, but if they're hitting you in the head, you're not flinching them off of your head. So yeah, you're gonna get a lot of really clunky gunfights where you're both trading shots and hitting each other, but then like you die and it feels like a fucking dice roll. And that's honestly how the beta felt to me. It felt like a coin flip and a dice roll every time I got into a gunfight. I won gunfights I didn't think I should because of random headshots, and I lost gunfights I didn't think I should because of, oh fuck, a numerous amount of reasons. So did time to kill need to be changed so drastically? Did score streaks need to be changed so drastically? In my opinion, no. I think Cold War should have played itself a little safer. Yeah, this is the problem with game development. When you innovate, people say, dial it back, and when you don't innovate, people say, where's the innovation? You're gonna piss off 50% of the community either way, so I think you might as well go with the things that are more tried and true. Yeah, there might not be a drastic difference between Cold War and Black Ops 4 if you don't have a drastically new kill streak system, But they could have done something interesting like score streaks, specialist score streaks, and support score streaks. So you're mixing the Modern Warfare 3 Call of Duty Ghost style with the score streak system that was introduced in Black Ops 2. And I think that would be really special. It would really just warm my fucking heart. And this is just after playing the beta weekend and the alpha weekend. We'll see what happens with beta weekend 2 and the launch of the game. But what I saw during the beta and alpha weekends was just a mess. I saw a mess of mechanics and gameplay design choices that don't really have any business being there. There are positive things I could say, but the two big negative ones that are jumping out at me is that you're going to alienate old school Call of Duty players, which is not always the worst thing, but it's not always the best thing. And because the systems you're introducing are new, they're going to have new ramifications you aren't prepared for, and a big part of this game's life cycle is going to be spent tweaking the headshot multiplier and flinch values and time to kill. It's going to really suck when weapon balance is even worse, because Call of Duty games always have unbalanced weapons that are a little bit more powerful. That's going to stand out way more in a longer time to kill game. We already saw that with Black Ops 4. You know that if you play a lot of FPS games, the longer the time to kill, the more the fast killing weapons stand out amongst the crowd. And I think the score streak system is a buzzkill, and I'm not even good enough to go on consistent streaks in every Call of Duty game that I play. So I imagine players that are better than me, that are more used to going on longer streaks, are going to be very, very irritated when it comes to how many times they start to notice, wow, I just accumulated a shit ton of score, and my streaks were in cooldown, so I guess I'll just get them after that. I guess I'll have to go get a bunch of score after the cooldown's over. Neat. Just imagine getting a really lucky C4 off of a spawn and you kill the entire enemy team with your C4 while your score streak had like less than 5 seconds left on its cooldown. That's just gonna suck because you could have probably gotten really close to your score streak with that, but oh well, it was in cooldown, you understand. So yeah, I think it's the annual release cycle that makes these developers make sort of stupid decisions that don't need to be made. Modern Warfare, deadass, was going to release core mode without a mini-map until you get a UAV. There's just a point where I think the developers have too much time on their hands and they are way too scared that they're not going to be unique and that their title, that their game isn't going to be unique. And I'll end off the video with my problem with COD World War II. My problem with COD World War II wasn't that it was kind of boring and not unique, that didn't help, but the problem was that it was boring, not really unique, and it was not refined. It made the same mistakes that other Call of Duty games had made, and it made changes that were completely unnecessary to the formula. Like, I'm sorry, the division system added nothing. The whole basic training things that replaced perks, they weren't necessary. They were stupid changes, and that game would have been so much better with a well-refined pick 10 or pick 13 system. But no, it just had to be its own unique little snowflake, and in my opinion, it completely fucking melted. See you when I see you guys. Goodbye.